Good morning, Seahawks. For this year's final current events broadcast, we have a truly unique opportunity to speak with Mr. John Gurrola, who grew up in Hawthorne and went to school at the American University in Washington, D.C. He campaigned in several California elections, including 6 different presidential campaigns. He has worked in 2 different White House administrations, one being led by a Republican and the other a Democratic president. Mr. Gurrola is truly an expert in the field of politics, communications, and media relations, who we have the privilege of learning so much from. Thank you so much, Mr. Gurrola, for being here today. It's truly an honor with your extensive resume, but I would like to first ask you, where did the passion for politics come from? What got you into this field?
I don't know what actually got me started, like if there was a certain event or not. I just remember when I was 5 years old, my mom has a video of me saying, "What do you want to be when you get older?" And I said, "Pope or president." So like from that time in my life, I knew I wanted to be involved in politics, and it's always been a caring for people and just wanting America to be the best place it could be.
Were there key events or specific experiences that you had that would later push you still more towards politics?
There's a lot of things. They're growing up in a middle class family, a big, huge family. I'm the youngest of 10 kids. Things of that sort just made me think, how can we make the place better? How can we improve things in America? What can we do to make it, fair for everybody?
And you went to high school in the South Bay. Were there specific parts of like student government, or were you in AP Gov classes? How did you get into politics, in high school?
Yeah, I did all that. Yeah, I was class president, student body president, district president or Du Bois State. I did all those things that you would expect. Yeah, they were fun, sure.
And you left Southern California for Washington, D.C. for the American University. But once you were there, how did you make a name for yourself? Like, how did you get connections that really made an impact on your future career?
So I got involved in College Republicans, and I was president of College Republicans for American University. And then once I got that, then I went for an internship. And so I applied for an internship at the White House.
And your internship was with President George Bush. And what was your role during that time?
So I was in the White House Office of Political Affairs. And political affairs is a very uncommon known office to the public, but political affairs is just like the bulldog of every White House. They decide everything. They decide is something politically smart for the president, period. So if the president gets invited to this event, political affairs looks at every single event and says he should go, he should not go. But political affairs was divided up by regions. So there was an actual desk that was California. So the reason I got the internship is because they needed someone in California's desk. And for whatever reason, not that many people applied, and I applied and I got it.
And you would later go on to become a Democrat in President Clinton's administration. What was that like for you personally and professionally? How did you deal with that transition?
It was a huge deal. It was very big. So I worked as an intern, then I got brought on as staff at George Bush's White House. He was an amazing man. His wife was amazing. And it was great working there. But then when we went to the re-election of the president, that became where it got weird because there were just things I wasn't believing in anymore. Like, for example, Republicans had no inkling at all to worry about healthcare. And healthcare was just so important. It's like, how are we not addressing this? So I literally was in church one day just praying in the middle of the afternoon, and my priest walked in and said, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Nothing." It's like, "What's wrong?" And I just told him, I go, I don't believe in what I'm doing right now. And I said, but the life issue was so important to me at that time. It was just like, life was huge. So I was like, abortion's a huge deal. I don't want to like leave, but I don't know what to do. And he's like, well, 9 out of 10 issues, the church is with Democrats 9 out of 10 times. So it's like, it's okay to be on either side. It's like 9 out of 10 is Democrat. And so, anyhow, so that's when I switched. So when I switched, I actually got a million, like literally, I think I had 17 voicemails from Republicans telling me to like go to hell. Like, how dare you leave our party? How dare you go to the Democrats? And I was welcomed with open arms, and I went off to help run Bill Clinton's campaign for his first election. And I was actually director of Republicans for Clinton.
And what's your experience been with all of these campaigns you've been on? You've been on quite a lot over the course of many years. So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Exhilarating, heartbreaking, depends on which one you're talking about. I just served in Kamala Harris's campaign. I was doing fields in Nevada, so Nevada was a key state, and went up there, and we lost the presidential out there, but we won every congressional race that we had to win. So that's kind of cool for the Democrats. But it's one of those things where you talk about a hard job, you talk about a lot of hours. There's nothing like a big campaign. Nothing. You are working 7 days a week. It's just brutal. But the reward is so huge. And if you want to work in government, that's the best way to do it. You get involved in a campaign, right? And then your guy wins or your gal wins. And then you get to go and work for them. And that's how you get involved in government. That's the fastest way to do it.
I mean, students nowadays might feel that those positions are quite competitive. How would you tell a student who comes up to you and goes, I want to get on a campaign, I want to make a meaningful difference, I want to get an internship? What's your advice for them specifically?
First of all, anybody can volunteer on a campaign. And there's absolutely no reason why you can't go volunteer on a campaign and get started. That's where you should start. So start by volunteering. Go find somebody you believe in and just hit up their office, walk in their office, whatever you got to do, say, I want to help. They'll find things for you to do, and then just be helpful. Just be super helpful. Smile every day, have a great can-do attitude, and people are going to start to notice. And then when you get a chance after you've been there for a few months, sit down with one of the people that can make decisions and just tell them, hey, I'm really into this. Please tell me what I can do to be better. And they'll find places for you to be. They'll find a home for you. I mean, that's how it should work, at least.
And over those 34 years you were in politics, you were often the one making decisions. What was the most meaningful thing you did, and how has that reflected across your career? What is something you're going to be saying to your grandchildren, I'm proud that I did that?
Well, in the Clinton administration, I was communications director for the Office of HIV/AIDS Policy. So what happened was the AIDS crisis took off in the 80s. Reagan and Bush did nothing for it at all. They just refused to. And so when we came in in the 90s with Bill Clinton, he committed to appointing an AIDS czar. He committed to taking it on. So when we started, every 16 minutes, someone died of AIDS. Every 11 minutes, someone else was infected. Every 16 minutes, someone died. Every 11 minutes, someone else was affected. We were losing. We were losing that battle huge. And so probably the greatest thing I made an impact is that we came in, and in 4 years, we reversed those numbers. We slowed it down. And that was through a bunch of prevention. It was just a bunch of education and teaching the American people. You could sit next to someone with HIV, and they're not going to give it to you, and how transmission works, and all those important things. But taking healthcare seriously as a nation is critical. And we showed America how to do that back in the 90s, and we did it well.
Mr. Gurrola, you've been truly inspirational, and you've most likely saved lives. It's been a pleasure meeting you today. And Seahawks, I hope you learned from as much as I did from this interview. This is Ryan O'Sullivan signing off for the summer.